Hello and welcome to my online blended learning class for health education. The unit that I chose to do for this online learning classroom was addiction. So as you can see, this is the course that I've set up in Schoology. We have our general information page where you can find information such as the syllabus, course information, policies, discussion, collaboration, and cooperation policies. Our Start Here section, our community discussion section, library and resources, which will provide things for writing papers, resources for readings, resources for creating projects and different types of assignments. We have our pretest. Then we have our 4 weeks, our 4 different lesson sections for each of the factors and the LEQs that we're going to be talking about. And then we have our assessment folder. So if we go up and we expand the general information folder, we can find our course syllabus, which includes a course title, educator information and contact information, textbook, which we don't need for this class, standard and learning outcomes, learning unit outline schedule, which are basically just the course requirements. There's assessment and evaluation policies, such as the list of the different assessments, the grading procedures, grading scale, and academic dishonesty policy, and also school policies related to communication, attendance, and special needs. I've also provided references at the bottom. So if we go ahead and open this up, you can kind of just take a look. It's a pretty basic course syllabus. It has everything that you would need to have the course explained. As you go through, you can see our different layout here with the weeks, our assessments, policies, grading scale, and then all of our references are listed here at the bottom, which will just take a second to load. And there we see our references. So if we move back here, we have nice to meet you section. Basically, this is just all of my information. I've provided it here for the students so they can see where they can find me, a little bit of an introduction for them, different links and phone number, things like that. Discussion, collaboration, and cooperation guidelines. We have classroom rules, netiquette, and then basically using Schoology resources is available in this general information folder as well. When we look through the Start Here, I have my introductory activity. This introductory activity, they're basically going to make an all about me collage using an app of their choice. This is my initial identifying goals and self-assessment assignment. So if I go ahead and show you this one, basically what they're going to do is they're going to complete this self-assessment, and then one of the parts of that self-assessment are 2 goals that they have for the unit. I've provided some assistance for them for writing goals. They'll submit that as an assignment in which I can look over their goals and things that they know, want to know, and strategies, and then kind of differentiate instruction as I go ahead. I also have navigating the course activity, which basically explains what they should be doing as they're navigating through the different material of the course. We have our community discussion. This is great because it allows for students to communicate with each other, communicate with me, and also communicate with parents. Because Schoology has a parent access code, all parents can access this information and see exactly what their students are seeing. In the library and resources section, I've provided a variety of different resources that'll help them out. So we have the online writing lab, Wilmington Youth Library, since technically our school doesn't have a library resource available online, Britannica School, Teen Health and Wellness, Smart Moves, Smart Choices, National Institute on Drug Abuse, which is NIDA, and then Schoology support for students. So these 4 specifically will help them throughout the unit, and they're also spread out throughout the different weeks. We have our addiction unit pretest, which basically allows students to see what they know before going through any of the actual course material. In week 1, we start out with our lesson objective. It's basically our LEQ. They have a readings and resource folder, which basically has in order what they should be going through. So for this one, it's just quite simple. They're just reading the preface, introduction, and drug abuse sections of the NIDA site. They're going to start with a nice little discussion board and move to creating addiction basics learning guide. They'll then do a addiction basics web quest, which is basically something called drugs in your body, and they'll go through the different parts of the body and kind of explore and learn a little bit new things and be able to test their knowledge at the end. They'll also be doing an addiction basics group assignment. Basically, through this assignment, what they're going to do is they're going to create a Kahoot that will help review their learning guide. So each student is going to create their own learning guide, and then they're going to get together in groups and basically create a Kahoot to help teach the learning guide to other people that might not have had a chance to be around in class. So that's our first lesson, and then of course I have my references. As you move forward, we have our other weeks. So if we go ahead and expand these, I can explain a little bit about them. Week 2, why do people take drugs assignment? They're going to be exploring the different reasons why people take drugs. I've also incorporated my screencast for controlled substances here. They're going to do an audio-video submission based on this screencast reflection, and they're basically going to write a reflection on the screencast, what they learned, new information, surprising information, and then they're going to create either an audio-video explaining that. I'll then take those and put them on a Google form and share it with the class so that they can view everybody's. Our third week, we have things like Addiction Factors Twitter chat, so they'll use the Twitter for their classroom, and they'll also hashtag a specific hashtag so that I can go through and view them. Grajewski Health is what we use. They'll have only 140 characters, and I've provided the different ways that they can submit the link to their individual tweet, just like we did in our class. They have another group assignment here after a Khan Academy assignment where they're basically creating an informational pamphlet on the different risk factors of addiction, and then we have our references. And then finally, for week 4, we have our lesson objective again, our readings and resources, drugs in the brain. They're going to complete a little bit of worksheet kind of thing as a group. They're then going to complete a questionnaire later in the week based on some information from this, and then they're going to do an ed puzzle, which is an addiction in the brain review. Finally, we have our final assessments, so they're going to take their post-test, and then they have a goals self-assessment, which will be relating to the very first goal-setting activity. So it's basically very similar to that, but it allows them to see their goals, see if they met their goals, and go through another type of little self-assessment for the end of the class. So that's my addiction unit for health education, and I hope that I provided some nice resources and tools that you could use in your own class as well. Thanks.